Hi, hello, welcome. I'm in my sister's van right now and it is so hot. There's traffic all around and because I'm trying to work on my audio, it is the best place for me to record right now and it is warm. So if I'm turning all red during this video, that is why. Yeah, anyways, welcome. Thanks for joining me for another little art talk and stuff. I wanted to talk about how to get the creative juices flowing again after feeling a little bit burned out, and how to decide if what you need is a break or just creating like a maniac to get those juices flowing in, basically. I don't think creating and being creative is necessarily a linear process. I think it ebbs and flows and is very malleable. Not even your role models are able to create amazing masterpieces every day of their life, even though it might seem that way. They also have days and weeks where creating just doesn't come as naturally and it's kind of stagnant and they feel kind of stuck. So it's very normal to feel that way, and there's different things we can do to get ourselves back into the process. It can be just challenges appearing and people saying something discouraging about our art, or just life happens, or we get super busy with professional work so we don't have time for our own work or something, or just motivation just drops in general. And for most of my artistic life, I guess my number one remedy for low motivation and inspiration in my art practice was just taking a step away and taking a real break. Sometimes a break is what I need to have my cup naturally fill again, and for me to be reminded of what it is that makes me want to create again, just in a natural way instead of forcing it. And I know that if you are passionate about your art and this is a big factor in your life that makes you feel fulfilled and happy, it can be very challenging to allow yourself to take that break, even because so much of our value lies in our art practice every day, in our daily art practice a lot of the time. I felt so guilty when I was in the middle of my super inspiring Japan trip, surrounded by things that inspire me so much and I love them so much, but I was luckily painting so much every day that I felt kind of burnt out in the middle of it, and I was just lying in my room surrounded by beauty and I just couldn't get myself to get up and draw and create anymore. I was just so tired of it and I felt so guilty about it, and I really beat myself up over it. I couldn't sit myself down and let it flow out effortlessly anymore for some reason. It felt very forced and I felt disappointed in it, so I basically was just lying in my room and I texted my friend about it, and she actually suffered from a real burnout before and is very passionate about the mental health aspect of breaks and rest and stuff, and she gave me this lovely pep talk that really helped me to allow myself to rest. So I just wanted to read what she said because I thought it was so helpful and beautiful in that time. Maybe it helps you guys too if you find it hard to just let yourself chill and rest and take a step away from your art. She said, there's a lot of research that shows that when you're not being productive, when you're procrastinating for any number of reasons, when you're not doing the thing you want or should be doing, it's healthy and necessary for the brain. Even boredom is actually super duper healthy, and it's unfortunate that we've nearly wiped it out. Procrastination and boredom, of course, work differently, but both lay the groundwork for creativity, as certain processes happen in the brain only during those states that don't happen any other time. Which, reframing it that way, seeing breaks and resting as something not unproductive but actually productive, even though it feels like you're wasting time, really, really helped me. There's kind of a downtime where your brain can really just chill and come up with ideas effortlessly and naturally, as opposed to you forcing it and sitting down and trying to let it flow out all the time. And she also reminded me that as a kid, which that's always I think if you watch my other videos, my role model is me as a child, how I was creating so effortlessly and playfully. We wouldn't sit down and force ourselves to create when we didn't feel it. We were very much in the moment, and if we weren't feeling the drawing, we would just get up and do something else, probably play outside and get inspiration from the sun and the trees and the animals around us. It's a very natural way of creating in that sense, and maybe we need to kind of take a step back to that sometimes. So not being productive is sometimes the most productive thing you can do. The fact that you're watching this video right now makes me think there's probably a voice inside you, something like a vision, a project, something that really, really wants to emerge, something creative. And maybe you need to kind of create that space in your life first to let that story and that vision emerge naturally. I know another reason why it was so hard for me to rest, and still is kind of hard for me to rest, is that I kind of have a scarcity mindset of good ideas sometimes. I felt so disconnected from my own inspiration, my own creativity, that I felt like if I was resting, if I wasn't constantly actively trying to release those ideas inside of me, that I was wasting them. Like if I was resting and inspiration would occur, but I still didn't feel the energy or the motivation to be creating, I felt like I was wasting these ideas and they would like disappear forever, and I would never be able to create ideas if I don't act on them. And that was because back then I couldn't really trust that I am potentially a naturally creative person. I think some people are naturally creative people, and ideas will constantly be generated and emerging naturally. Like it is uncomfortable for us creative people to not be creating and not acting on this natural state of us, and realizing that there's kind of an abundance of ideas inside of me that will always appear and disappear kind of takes pressure out of like, oh my god, I need to act on this idea. If I don't do this, I'll waste it, it'll be gone forever. Like I believe that your mind will tirelessly throw ideas and inspiration at you like until the day you die, and it is up to you to act on them if you feel like you can act on them. Those thoughts really helped me to let myself rest. Like resting can generate ideas, and ideas will always come and go in an abundance in your life. And maybe living your life and leaning into things that potentially aren't art related is what's going to generate the most authentic ideas for you, and taking a step away and stuff. And that's going to give you space to let your inspiration naturally grow. But then sometimes, and this is the tricky part, the exact opposite might actually be the case. And I've experienced this many times. There were times when I gave myself such large breaks and so many frequent breaks that I realized the pressure to start drawing again was increasingly growing as well. So the break wasn't actually helping me ease myself way back into art making. It actually made it harder to get back into it, and I kind of lost faith in my ability because I haven't used my drawing skill in so long, and the pressure kind of became overwhelming to want to start but be scared to start. And all these ideas while I was resting, they wouldn't stop being generated, they kept piling up. So I got to this point that all these ideas and projects and visions and stuff were flowing over, and I just really, really desperately wanted to create, but I was so scared to start because I knew if the first thing wasn't going to be perfect and up to my standard, even though I haven't drawn for so long and was kind of rusty, I would disappoint myself so deeply that I would lose motivation altogether and stop creating altogether. Perfectionism is such a poison to the creative groove, and I really want to read later the section out of The Artist's Way on perfectionism because it's just so spot on. I find that I was telling myself that I was quote-unquote resting all throughout my summer breaks while attending Cal Arts, and really at some point I was fully rested, and then I just kept lingering fear of disappointing myself in my art journey again once I start drawing, disappointing myself in my abilities, disappointing myself in the way I executed all these projects that I really desperately wanted to do. I came from the transition to resting to being fearful is very fluid, and it can happen very easily. And I found out that the antidote to that is actually counterintuitively forcing myself to create like a maniac. Be that hours of drawing shapes and lines and automatic drawing just to get the line mileage out, or randomly pulling up anything that sparks any kind of interest and Pinterest and doing studies after studies, just getting your hand moving again. Just really allow yourself to do a shit ton of quantity art versus quality art. It doesn't have to be good. Just see this as you are in need of a really, really intense warm-up session. You cannot be hard on yourself in this early phase of creating. You're slowly starting to generate inspiration. You're carefully like linking your whatever is in your mind and overflowing with your hand. And be patient with yourself. Like a dancer who hasn't danced in a year cannot start with jumping in the most crazy choreography. They have to do some stretches and some work from the bottom up again, because otherwise they'll break their legs and they won't be able to dance at all again. Literally the same thing can happen with drawing, but more like on a mental note. Like you can be so excited to be drawing again, and then you want to create the most perfect piece right off the bat, and it's always disappointing, it's always demotivating. And don't make the mistake of judging yourself in this early drawing practice. This is about making mistakes. This is about getting the line mileage out. This is about warming up. It won't be perfect. It's just about drawing and drawing and drawing. And the ideas will come. And then fearlessly start drawing those ideas. You won't run out. It's not like these will be the only ideas that you will be having. It was such a mind blow when I found out that releasing ideas actually generates more ideas. Like you think if you act on this one project you really want to do and it doesn't go out, then you'll be out of great projects that you want to do. But really, if you start drawing, your brain will be like, oh, we're generating ideas and we're making and releasing ideas, so it'll come up with more ideas. And it's crazy how when you're in the flow of creating, just more and more ideas will come, whereas when you're just waiting for the perfect one to hit, it feels kind of stagnant. The biggest misconception me and my sister fell for all of our artistic career, really, until just a couple years ago, was that ideas come from resting, when really ideas come from creating. So even the other day when I was just not getting the groove of things and just nothing was really clicking, I never really dropped fully into the creative zone that I like to be in when drawing. At least I was getting line mileage out. At least I was moving my hand. At least I was attempting to release ideas and generate ideas. I was signaling to my brain that I have an abundance of energy and time and love to dedicate to my art practice now again. And all my brain needs to do is deliver the ideas and the inspiration for it. So yes, it might be that you need some good, nourishing, deep rest because you burnt yourself out for any number of reasons. But also be aware that if you feel stuck, there might also be the need that you need to do the opposite, to just sit yourself down and just do a crazy amount of art. Get those bad, rusty drawings out of the way so that you can finally get to this good stuff and declutter your brain a little bit. Alright, thanks for watching again. Please be kind to yourself. I know it's so rough to be stuck in this place where you can't be naturally creating and you're beating yourself up over it and you're trying to force it and it's just not flowing and stuff. I know it can be really hard. I hope you're kind to yourself and you're gentle to yourself and you can be patient with yourself and things will flow again. If you're a creative person, which I know you are, it's just gonna flow out naturally, and I believe that you can find your way back to it in a gentle, more kind way. Thanks so much for watching. Please tune in for the next one, and yeah, I'm gonna go get my laundry now and get rid of this hot van, which I'm very excited about. Bye bye.